Yo, 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 welcome back, baby. This episode is something that I'm really excited about because this is something that I'm incredibly passionate about when it comes to writing a book and using that book to grow your business. And this episode, we're really going to focus on why you actually don't even need book sales to generate six figures and beyond from your book. All right, now the biggest misconception here, the biggest misconception that people have is that they think they have to sell tons of books to make money and that that's the only way that you can leverage your book for revenue. And the reason that a lot of people think this, and I thought the same thing too, is like, oh, I'm going to be an author, but I have to sell a ton of copies to make a ton of money. And yes, you can make a lot of money from your books, but most people don't. Most people make their money on the back end. And so what I really want to kind of show you in this episode is how can you write a book and then make six figures or seven figures or however much money you really want to make from your book without relying on book sales. All right, I want to show you how to turn your book into a money-making machine. All right, so the majority of people, I'm gonna say this again, the majority of people who write books do not actually make the money from the actual book in terms of book sales. The majority of people, entrepreneurs and coaches, the majority of people make their money on the back end offers. High ticket clients, coaching, speaking, consulting, masterminds, retreats, course sales. All right, those is where you're gonna likely get the higher ROI than just your book sales. And let me give you an example here of what I mean by this, because this is really something that once you understand this concept, you're going to stop worrying about trying to move an extra 20 copies a month, and you're going to start focusing on trying to sign an additional 1 to 2 coaching clients by using your book to help you sign these big deals. So let's say, for example, your book is $20 on Amazon. You price your book at $20. I'm going to use simple math here. $20, let's say after fulfillment and your royalties, you get $10 per book. All right, let's say you sell 200 books. That would be $2,000 in royalties. Nice. Here's what I tell people. Truthfully, here's what I tell people. Your book sales, the money you make on that, the royalty check, that money that just comes in every month from your book sales, that's beautiful. All right, we love that. I call that a nice little bonus. I call that your extra stuff. All right, once you get that paycheck, that goes in the bank. Let's go. Let's have some fun with that. But the real money is on the back end. Now let me explain this. So we just said your book's $20. You've now moved 200 copies of your books and you've brought in 2K. Awesome. That's great. $2,000 is awesome. But $2,000 isn't life-changing money, and you had to move 200 books to do that. But now let's say you have a coaching offer. Maybe you have you're a consultant. Maybe you are working on a speaking fee. And let's just say whatever it is, your offer is $5,000. Now, if your offer is $5,000, here's how we're going to leverage the book while not focusing on book sales. First thing you're going to do is you're actually going to give 100 copies of your books away to people. All right, now you're going to give them not just to anybody and anybody. You're going to give your books, these 100 books, to people that have the audiences that you have, to friends that are in the space, to people that you could collaborate with, to people that are in complementary roles as you, to decision makers who can hire you. You're going to give 100 copies of your book away for free. So the way that you're going to do this is you are going to buy what is called an author copy. This is the print cost. And then you are going to buy those, which is a massive discount. And then you are going to send these books via media mail to these people. So to put this in perspective, one of my books, Elevate Your Network, cost me about $2.50 a copy to purchase. When you factor in media mail, it's about $3. Okay, that changes based on the postal service, but let's just call it about $5 to buy a copy of my book and to mail it out. All right. Now here's a little bonus tip. When you do mail this out, you're going to throw in a handwritten note to that person. You're going to sign your book and you're going to have a custom handwritten note. That is going to deliver some incredible value. That's going to get the relationship off on the right foot. It's going to show that you care, you took the time to invest in the relationship, and that's going to go a very, very far way. So now for $5, you've now sent your book to 100 different people, totaling about $500 of investment. Okay, you've now spent $500. All right, now watch what happens here. Let's just say you sign 2 clients. Of those 100 people, 2 of those people become clients. 2%, 2 people. All right. And your offer, remember, your offer is $5,000. So 2 people times $5,000 is $10,000. You now just put in $500. Your book is now in over 100 hands and you've brought in $10,000 of revenue. That is a 20x return on your investment in those books. Are you kidding me? But that's the name of the game. You moved 200 books by selling them on Amazon. You made 2K. You gave away 100 books and you brought in $10,000. Now imagine if your offer is 10K. Do you realize how much difference this starts to make? Even if your offer was 1K, do you see the difference this makes? What I'm trying to tell you here is this. You don't necessarily need to rely on book sales to grow an incredible business as an author. What you can do is leverage your book to generate more back-end opportunity. Your book is that networking tool. Now here, let me go one step further here. Not only have you given your book to now 100 people and 2 of them signed up, but now you have 98 other people. Some of them not going to give a shit. They're not going to think twice about it. They're going to be like, thank you, amazing, let's move on. But there's going to be another handful, maybe another 5 to 10 people that are going to hire you later down the line. This is just their intro to you. So maybe it's a 3 to 6 month lead time. There's going to be another 10 people that might refer you to somebody else. There's going to be another 10 people who give that book to one of their employees, or who gives that book to someone else who can then hire you. Once you get the book in the hands of these people, opportunity starts to flow, things start to happen. So you gave 100 copies away, now you have $10,000 of revenue, you have a 20x ROI on your investment, and boom, you have people that you want to have your book with it in their hands. All right, do you see how this really starts to make a big difference? So let me break this down further. I'll give you some serious examples of why you don't actually need these book sales to generate your next 6 figures in business revenue. All right, so let's talk speaking engagements for a second here. I'm going to give you a perfect example of this. So I gave my book to a decision maker. All right, I went to a conference and I gave every single executive director my book, every single one that I could. I gave them my book and I followed up with them and I started to build a relationship. What happened after that was I eventually got booked by one of those people. So let's just say it was there's 50 states, 50 state directors. I probably gave it about to 30 of them, okay, because I had to get it in front of them. Of those 30, I got 1 client, okay? So I got 1 client and they paid for a $5,000 experience, all right? So now, here's what happened. 30 people, $5 a copy. That was a $150 investment, plus the conference travel, whatever it was, and I signed a 5K deal. What happened since then was I got booked, I crushed that. They started to refer me to other people because I'd done such a great job for them. That's led into tens of thousands of dollars in future opportunities, all because I gave them a book at a conference, okay? Now I'm gonna give you another example with a speaking example here. So I gave a copy of my book. Somebody ended up hiring me to speak and I spoke, I got my speaking fee, but then I also was able to do back of the room book sales. And literally within 15 minutes after the presentation, they came back to my booth. I was able to sell my book. I sold my book for $15 a pop, okay? Which was a discount from what you could get it on Amazon. So I sold it for $15 a pop. Remember, I bought it for about $253. So my margins on that were way higher than what I would get from an Amazon sale. And I was actually able to sell this and sign them in real live time, building relationships, getting additional content, getting pictures, building rapport with potential future clients and future supporters. What happened there was in that 15 minutes, I sold a ton of books and I was able to bring in an additional 300, 400, 500 bucks. And I've done this over and over and over again. So this is very, very realistic that by giving your book away, by giving your book in front of the right people, you're going to be able to generate lots of back-end revenue. I want to tell you one more story of a client, and then I'm going to show you how this can turn into coaching clients as well. One of our clients, she was writing a book, and part of the reason she wanted to write this book was because she wanted to get booked on stages. She wanted to really use this book to put her in that elite category of entrepreneur. And she started writing this book and she was talking about it. She was using what we teach in Big Idea to Bestseller to talk about the book and build hype as the book is coming, build the anticipation. And somebody caught wind that she was writing the book, and that was all that person needed to hire her to speak on stage with some pretty big time entrepreneurs. And she was offered the chance to sell her books on the back end and have a booth at the actual event. So not only did she get a speaking engagement, but she had an opportunity to network with top tier entrepreneurs that she looked up to, and she had an opportunity to sell her books in the back of the room. This is the power of having a book, because these opportunities would not have been presented to you otherwise. So let me move on now to coaching clients here and show you kind of how a book can really help you build your coaching side of business. So I'm going to give you an example here of, I met a guy, we got introduced, and I kind of stayed in touch with this guy. I had just released a new book, and I sent him a free copy. All right. I sent him a free copy. And what happened was we started building relationship. He was like, thanks so much. And I was like, yeah, of course, let me know if you ever need anything. And I kept the conversation going. I checked in. Hey, how's business going? How's everything going? He goes, dude, Jake, like, I loved your book. I loved what you're talking about. Like, talk to me more about what you do. And I was like, I do coaching. And at this time I was really coaching people on how to achieve more business success, how to make more money in their business. And this guy was like, you know what, Jake, let's jump on a call and talk about really what you have to offer. And I was like, okay, great. Like, he's kind of guiding me. I can tell he's totally interested. And boom, that was a 12K client. We ended up working out a deal for 12K, and his business skyrocketed, his personal life skyrocketed, and he had tons of success. But the important thing to recognize here is that this all stemmed by me being willing to give him a book for free and then to continue to develop the relationship. That one book turned into over $10,000. Okay. Now, if we can do this all day long and you factor in compounding time, the more copies you give out, the more time people have to digest it, the more people can refer it. What happens is you start to build a snowball, and it starts to roll down that hill. It starts to pick up steam. You start getting more referrals. You start getting more clients. You start developing more speaking engagements. You start raising your fees. You start being able to leverage the business. But it all started with a book. I'm gonna give you an example of one of our clients who leverages strategy as well. She was writing her book, and as she was writing her book, she was talking about on social, building anticipation. Her book came out, she launched it, became an Amazon bestseller, and she started to give away her book. She started talking about her book, and on launch week, what happened was that the person did not buy her book necessarily, okay? The person did not buy her book necessarily, but she immediately asked for more information about her coaching program. So by writing the book, she was able to establish enough credibility for this person to be like, you know what? I've watched her write this book the last 4 to 6 months. This is my person. And she ended up hiring her right off the spot. So this is exactly what's possible when we leverage our book to grow the business and not stress out about, did I have 4 book sales? Did I have 5 book sales? Look, $10 royalties, that's great. That stuff does add up over time. But what's really important is, are you more focused on a $10 book sale, or are you more focused on a $10,000 opportunity? Are you more focused on a $10 royalty check, or are you more focused on a $1,000 course sale? There's opportunity, and it starts by having your book. You can leverage this for digital products. You can leverage this for masterminds. There's so many ways to leverage your book, and you don't need to stress out about book sales. Am I moving enough copies? So look, to recap this whole episode, I want you to get book sales. I want you to sell the crap out of your book, and I want you to get absolutely bloody rich from having your book and getting sales. And I hope that that happens. But the majority of people, whether they do that or not, the majority of people are making bigger money on the back end using the book as a vehicle to raising your fees and getting more speed engagements, to getting more high-ticket coaching clients, to selling more courses, to being the more go-to expert, to then be able to do the things that you desire on the business side of things. So look, that's what I got for you today. If you've been thinking about writing a book, then I want you to heavily consider, why do you want to write this book? What is the back end goal? What is the intention for writing this book? And if that's to grow your business, then let's chop it up, baby. Come on. Let's have a conversation. Let's see how we can make this happen. Because look, you got the skills. You already are making money doing this. You're already coaching. You already have this idea. You're already selling something. Well, let's figure out a way to optimize it through a book so you can achieve the goals that you have. That's what this is all about. Let's make the magic happen. I appreciate you tuning into this episode. I hope you got an absolute ton of value from this. And if you want to run these numbers, we can break that down too, right? I do these numbers things all day long to see what is the ROI, right? And this is one of the best ROIs that I've seen in business. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I appreciate you tuning in, listening to this. listening to me get absolutely fired up about it. And I hope that some of this energy goes straight into your blood and gets you fired up about your book and the potential that it has to build the business and the life you've always dreamed of. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.